Hello everyone, welcome to another video. It's been a while since last year when I recorded my videos of the last two rounds of the World Championship, and this time I again want to record some videos from the World Championship because we're again pretty far into the tournament. It's the semi-finals now. Last year I got to skip that round because I won all the way in upper group and got to skip the semi-finals. This time I was again in the final upper group, but the winner was A440, so he's already in the finals. Congrats to him. And I have to play in the semi-finals now, which is also nice because now I get to keep playing some games. And my opponents in this semi-final stage are Saru, Wanderlust and Lcfyx or Lcfyx. I don't know. Saru is a Chinese player. I've already played against him a few times in Grandmaster League, in international. I don't think intermezzo, just international, I think. Yeah, so I don't think he's won any season, but yeah, he's already been there a few times, so also a consistent, strong player. Wanderlust has a German name, but he's also Chinese. So I'll just pronounce it however I like, but not perfectly German probably. And I've never played against him. I hadn't heard of this player before this World Championship, so I don't really know anything about him. And then the final player is Lcfyx. He's French, and I've played against him quite a few times in various tournaments. I don't know if he's made it to Grandmaster level, but definitely Master level. I've played a lot of games against him, and he was also a semi-finalist in last year's World Championship. So clearly also very consistent. Not a coincidence that he makes it again. So yeah, of course it's a semi-finals. We're expecting strong opposition. We're not gonna get away with easy opponents at this stage, of course. So yeah, let's just hop straight into the games. So as usual, we start with two 4-player games with all the players in the group, and then we'll head to the 3- and 2-player games. I'll also show you the leaders and wonders in this first game, but as you may know from my previous videos, I don't really do any analysis before. Not really concerned early in the game with what's going on with all the leaders. I'll just check them when it's relevant for my decisions. If you like, just pause the video on the setup. And Saru is in first position. He takes the Engineering Genius. I'd agree with that. I don't think these leaders are particularly strong. If you take one, probably Homer, because you have no guarantee of a wonder. So Cleo is not looking good in this row. But I agree with taking EG over it. And then we go to my turn. And I'll just take Boudica. I think it's one of the stronger leaders, the strongest on this row for sure. And I think she's better than, say, Homer plus Frugality. And then Homer plus Frugality is what Wanderlust gets. Sorry, Aristotle plus Frugality is what Wanderlust gets, which I also agree with. I think Aristotle is also worth paying the extra action for, especially because the extra action would just be the cultural heritage at this point. And then it's Lcfyx's turn, and he could go Colosseum plus a leader, but takes urban growth, cultural heritage, and Cleo. So I'm not sure I would take Leo here. Let's look at the wonders that are coming out. But yeah, there are some good wonders. I guess he's likely in last position with the wonders all being far down. For example, Saru will not get a wonder for one civil action, so it's probably quite likely to get one. And yeah, then the economical value of Cleo can be nice, but Mer could be nice too. I don't know. Not sure which one's better. I think it's pretty equal. And then Saru will get Moses over Homer, noticeably. and just mine and pop. Interesting choice, not sure, but why not? Uh, then on my turn, yeah, it's a bit interesting. Of course, I'll elect Boudica, I'll build a mine, but then the question is, will I take? I think for me the library is stronger than Stonehenge. I think both are very fine wonders, um, but I think I'll give the edge to library if I have to choose. Um, so I could take library for 2 here, or I could take Colosseum for 1 and just pop, saving an action, having this pop done. And Colosseum is often a bit bad-mouthed, I think. I think some players are pretty down on it. But in 4-player, I think it's at its best. The military action, happy face, everything. The bonuses just somehow match up best to 4-player, I think. So I think it's very fine wonder in 4-player. But we'll take the library here, and it's not something I would do every time. I think there are definitely situations where I could take Colosseum plus a free action basically over the library, but in this case, yeah, nobody else has a wonder yet. And if I take the Colosseum, then the Stonehenge will drop to 1 for Wanderlust, the library will drop to 1 for Lcfyx, so they basically just get stronger wonders than I get for the same cost. Well, now I pay the extra action, but if they want stronger wonder, they also, at least Wanderlust also has to take it for 2. So yeah, I have a chance to get the strongest wonder here, I think, for the starting setup. So I want to take it, and if Wanderlust wants the other strongest one, he also has to pay 2 for it. So I think it's better to go for the more aggressive pick here. Then elect mine, and he also takes a Stonehenge for 2, so perhaps a bit the same reasoning, I don't know. And then Lcfyx will immediately take the alchemy for 2, elect Cleo, and build a lab. So this is actually a fine start for Cleo, because yeah, no wonder, but you have the alchemy, so you can immediately upgrade, keep using the resources. I think taking Colosseum could also have been a fine start, but yeah, getting the early alchemy is just nice. You have something strong to upgrade, and it works well with leaders, so why not? Then let's see if Saru will take the Colosseum, or maybe the same piece for 2, it's also a possibility. Civil Life is revealed, and he used that to build a lab. Took the Knights for 2. Yeah, first Knights copy is pretty strong, and then uses Moses a bit. Yeah, with Moses, of course, you have to be civil action efficient, and yeah, notably, he doesn't take a wonder at all. But yeah, given the turn, I think it makes some sense. I think I would have just taken the Colosseum anyway in his position, but yeah, this could be fine as well. I can't do anything with my politics, and I'll take the Code of Laws for 2 and start. Yeah, just so I used the civil life to increase my population actually. Then I took a rock with Boudica, and this allows me to both build a lab and a stage of the library and take the Code of Laws for 2. So this way, by using the Boudica for rocks, I actually can use all my actions without taking an HA card, which I would have to do if I took science, which is the more usual thing to do. And I also stay out of consumption, so I can get an extra food this way. Then Wanderlust will take irrigation for 2, scoring a science with Aristotle, builds the lab and populates. I think these sounds are pretty loud. Can I much? Sorry about that. Lcfyx, he built a stage, developed this. Yeah, he had to take the wonder, of course. Populates, builds a mine, builds a stage. Yeah, makes sense. He still had to build a second mine, of course. And then next turn he can start upgrading these. He could have he developed alchemy to civil life. Yes, okay. And he had to take the cultural heritage. No, it was the same piece. This he had already in hand. So also an efficient turn then. Yeah. Saru seeds and 2 rocks are revealed. Builds a 3rd farm, takes theocracy for 2, and takes a rich land. So that's an interesting turn for sure. He still doesn't have a wonder, he has that GA in hand. And there is Taj Mahal, which is not usually the wonder that you really want. So you're mostly looking at the other 3 to get some use out of the AG eventually. And theocracy for 2 is an interesting choice as well. So yeah, with the 3rd farm, the theocracy, and Moses, he will have a lot of population, and theocracy will provide a happy face, and he has the knights as well. So this is looking like an aggressive setup. He might go for quite a bit of strength pretty soon with this, if he finds a tactic, and he's in first position as well. So this could be pretty threatening. I'll have to be a bit careful. Let's see. I have the Pestilence and the Vast Territory. I don't really think I want to seed either of them at this point, because yeah, Saru Pestilence is just a great event for Saru no matter what, because he's Moses and 3 farms set up. Everybody losing population is going to be good for him. I think Wanderlust also took the irrigation already, so this event is definitely bad. And Vast Territory, I have 1 colonization card, but Boudica is also kind of good at rebuilding if the colony comes very early, but yeah, I don't think it's enough to win this for now. So I don't think I will see that. I'll just finish the library. Yeah, that's just makes sense. And then I could pop twice, or I could take the alchemy. I already have a code, so I think, and maybe the urban growth as well. Let's see, I'll take the alchemy and the urban growth, yeah, because I'm low on rocks actually. And yeah, I'm already out of consumption, so I can stay out of corruption, so I can stay out of consumption for another turn. That's what I mean. So this is pretty nice. The urban growth on 4 civil actions. You have to be a bit careful, of course, not to overdo it with these. But I have the code of laws. I'll soon have a 5th action, and yeah, this will just let me accelerate a bit. So I think it's worth taking both together. And as I said, the Pestilence is just a really bad event, so I'm glad to discard it and be happy it's not in. He takes Code of Laws, scores signs, and that lets him immediately go for it, then takes Present Circuses and builds a stage of the Stonehenge. So pretty nice, 2 signs for Aristotle, getting that extra action going, and already has a happy face solution. And there is Pierre in the game, no Darwin, but yeah, so nice cards to have. Took them both for 1 civil action, so that's nice. And then Lcfyx, will seed, development of warfare is revealed, which I can't use because I kept going for staying out of consumption, but Wanderlust and Saru can take it. Lcfyx goes for Isabella and uses the Clio rocks. So he still had some options, of course, to use Clio. he goes for the second upgrade now. But of course, Isabella also provides 1 rock and is just a bit more easy to use, more stable. There's also no other leader yet on the road, so if you have to stay with Cleo for a longer time, it can be awkward. Sometimes there are also, you have ways to use her, but it's difficult to get out of corruption, especially with the St. Pete's is not the easiest wonder to get built like that. So it makes a lot of sense to just switch to Isabella now, and he also just seeded, so perhaps has already a colony, and yeah, then also gets the military tech for 1 civil action, so that's also a nice deal. Again, there aren't many on the row. Saru has the knights, but this is the second copy of a military tactic, so also nice to have. That does mean that the iron will drop to 1 for Saru and for me, actually. Even if Saru takes this copy, then there will be a copy of iron for me on 1. Meanwhile, Saru is actually going aggressive as kind of expected at this point. However, he can't yet go for... Oh yeah, he got a free warrior, that's what happened, yeah. He got a free warrior, but he reveals the medieval army and develops the knights. So yeah, all set up for an early freedom of movement, but yeah, more seriously, he's got still the Moses going, so it will not be too hard to get 2 population out. Where did that religion actually come from, I now wonder? He just built a religion, okay. So that's interesting. And he will have the theocracy for the second happy phase, so he should be able to set up 2 medieval armies. And again, should be a bit careful about that. But religion is still kind of interesting. I guess he needed to do this to get out of corruption anyway, because he took the free warrior, and then the next population was unhappy, so he couldn't really do anything else with it except build a religion. I wonder if he could have developed iron instead of knights and then just upgrade an iron. Yes, that was possible, right? So that's a bit interesting. Yeah, he just developed the knights, so he could have developed iron and instead of this upgraded one. So yeah, doesn't want to wait for again until he has 5 signs again to go for the knights. So he wants to do this before getting his production going. So again, it indicates that he's pretty serious about doing something aggressive here. Seeing that, I don't think I want to send Seed Reign of Terror either. I don't have a military attack yet, so no real plan for the military, which I will probably need to have soon. So yeah, and still don't really see myself winning the Vast either, so I will not see it. I'll develop the Code of Laws, take the Iron, take Bread and Circuses. Again, there is Pierre in the game, so just nice to have a happy face solution early on for 1 civil action and having this for Pierre later on. Also, it will give a bit of strength, and the happy faces will help me build some military, which again will be important soon. So I go for the Code of Laws, which means I could go for the Iron, for example, and upgrade, but I think that would be a bit too greedy now. I'm going for Code of Laws. Will help me take military tech, for example, having that 5th civil action. And I will pop twice just to get out of corruption then. I didn't offer the trade routes agreement. That was also an option, of course, but at this point I didn't really know which I would want to exchange for which other thing and how it will end up. There are still 3 HA cards. Maybe I should have just offered it, but I didn't really see what I was going to do with it and immediately, and I could have kept it in hand, of course, but I preferred keeping the vast. Um, I might draw like 2 colonization cards and see the next turn. It's possible, of course. I might have the science for cartography at some point. So just a powerful card. There's no Swiss in the game, so no point in keeping it for that. There's also no Columbus. So yeah, maybe not the biggest chance that I do something with this, but you never know. I don't think the trade routes agreement is that big of a deal either. Keep the heavy calf because it's a tactic and I didn't have another one. But there's no Genghis in the game either. I draw 2 copies of Legions, so I now have another option. Wanderlust seeds and development of planning is revealed. Religion, settlement, and agriculture, and he chose settlement. So just an extra population, so basic extra population of free religion. He could take the free religion, but he has Britain circus in hand, so I think it makes sense to go for the free pop. Takes Saladin for 2, and then just finishes the Stonehenge. Not really the most interesting cards here. The Warfare would be okay to pick up, of course, with Aristotle and having the signs with Stonehenge, but just finishing the Stonehenge and taking Saladin is pretty clean too. Lcfyx seeds, so we're almost at the next deck. And he took also a free population, no religion, which or did he? He already populated again, yeah. So he didn't have a free population. A bit unfortunate one because with St. Pete's, of course, the free religion would have been nice, but still getting a free population is also a fine deal, of course. And then, yeah, it's probably time to start building something. Since the deck is about to flip, takes a drama in hand, which yeah, also makes it not so bad not to have the religion if you're going for drama. But there is Bach, so he could have moved it maybe if he ends up with Bach. There's Shakespeare too. There's no Dietrich in H3. And then it's back to Saru. He didn't have a wonder yet, so he gets to choose actually a bit between all 3 of the H1 wonders if we discount the Taj Mahal and the St. Pete's, which was already taken. So the 3 good remaining wonders are all on 1 civil action. He picks the university, which makes sense. He still has the EGA, so he can just finish it if he wants, and that's what he's gonna do. Yeah, nice turn, of course. He couldn't do immediate finishing with any of those others. Great Wall would make a lot of sense anyway, going for medieval. So yeah, this is just a logical choice. Very nice and clean turn. It does mean that we are not really moving into strength just yet, so we have some time to prepare. Yeah, I still only have the fastest as an option to see it, which I still don't want to see it. I also don't really want to see the next deck yet because yeah, this turn I'm building the free warrior from Boudica, but there's still not really much else that I can do for strength. I could take Zichka and reveal the Legion, of course, but let's see, I don't really know. I think I'm just going for Iron actually. I am revealing the Legion, but then just going for Iron. And I'll pop and take that breakthrough. So maybe a bit risky, not taking Zichka. On the other hand, Wanderlust and Lcfyx already have leaders, and there are several nice leaders coming. Okay, Joan is maybe not ideal because I don't have the free religion. I also took the settlement from the planning. I could have taken the free religion actually, but I have Breton Circus in hand, so I thought the free pop was just more valuable. And yeah, I have the Legion. I'll be able to go for Breton Circuses, and I also just made sure to yeah, be pretty efficient with my civil actions. And I have the breakthrough now, which means that I have 7 science available next turn. And I was thinking of a copy of Swordsman, because it's also always really great with Boudica to be able to use the resources another time to upgrade. And of course I have the Legion tactic, so Swordsman would be really nice. And I think the way I'm setting up, I have my actions free to take the Swordsman for a lot if I need them. So that's the idea here. And Jitska might help a little, but yeah, it's only ever going to be 2 strength with the Legion tactic, which also isn't that much. Of course, 3rd military action and 2 strength still relevant, but yeah, chose not to take a leader for 2 here because I'll probably get to find one for 1 civil action anyway. There's also warfare coming, which is also an option if I need a 3rd MA. And Wanderlust also gets the iron for 1 civil action, so everybody who got him for 1. And then takes the Great Wall, which makes sense. He also needs something to defend, has the iron going now, and has warriors. I guess it was an option for me as well. But I suppose I still had to develop the iron and do the 2 upgrades. I could have taken it instead of those 2, but I really want this breakthrough. Because it lets me go for bread and circuses plus swordsman or maybe warfare later or whatever. But yeah, he gets the Great Wall, which is also a nice way to defend. Or he also has 6 civil actions already, so that makes it a bit easier to go for those upgrades and the Great Wall. And reveals the fighting band, which means Boudica will for sure give rocks again next turn, or 2 military rocks. Warfare is taken for 2 actually. And then gets a breakthrough, still has that cultural heritage which he needs to play next turn, and still on 4 civil actions, so that's not ideal, but maybe just discard it, we'll see. And also just going for infantry because the 2 other knights aren't showing up yet. And yeah, also seeing of course that Saru is soon going to be threatening. Now only the last development is revealed. We get 2 science and yeah, 2 population with Moses. Takes Zitska, builds a knight and develops the iron, but cannot upgrade yet. So he had the resources, but yeah, he wanted to have the 2 Moses activations and takes Zitska. So yeah, but then so next turn he can go for the theocracy, build a knight and get an upgrade going. So both increasing his strength and his economy. Then yeah, my cards are still the same. I still don't think I'm seeding the vast. Also I'm the weakest now and the deck has flipped. I get another free warrior. I will take Leonardo. I'll use the breakthrough with alchemy and go for 1 upgrade and another with the urban growth. And then I'll take the engineering genius. And this last, I think everything is very easy and straightforward at first, because I'll get a lot of value from Leo, so I'm upgrading my labs first before the last mine upgrade, because my science kind of helps give me rocks as well, so I just want to get a lot out of Leo. I'm also going to be ready soon for H2 governments, so that's also nice. And next turn I'll definitely want to go for prison circuses, and if it's available I'll probably want to have the swordsman. So this way I can develop prison circuses, build 1, take swordsman for 2 if they're there, and develop them and get as much strength as is necessary probably for resisting saru, or being able not to get aggressed, because I'm on 2 MAs, so I'll need quite a bit of strength and I have to be safe. And the reason I take this EG rather than the third upgrade was to increase the chance that swordsman would be falling to 2, because now we're going to 6 cards. Saru is on 4 actions, has the knights. I don't think he's ever taking them, and Lcfyx already has them. So yeah, if they're available for Wanderlust for 3, he might take them, but at least then it's 3 actions. But I think it's in my interest to move the deck forwards as much as possible, to make sure that to make the chances as big as possible that the swordsmen come out soon and drop to the 2 civil actions. And there are also some fine wonders here. So EG is still decent value. I could take the Richland, of course, but as I said, I think my next turn might be Bread and Circus and Swordsman, and then probably my entire turn will be filled, which means that this Richland will be just staying in my hand and waiting another turn. And the longer I wait with it, the less valuable it becomes, I think. So I think I'd rather, I'll be more stuck on civil actions for now. And I think this EG will be 3 rocks at any point, but the Richland kind of needs to be used soon to be worth more than the EG, is kind of what I'm trying to say. I don't think I will have cash flow problems on my rocks, but I will have on my civil actions, something like that. I get a defense card, that's nice. And Wanderlust takes the knights for 2, takes the Richlands, develops the knights. So kind of awkward having Great Wall but going for knights, but okay, it's the phalanx tactic, which is okay, we like that. Takes the masonry, which will make finishing Great Wall more efficient, so that's also looking quite nice. And then cultural influence is revealed. So I'm glad to see an event that doesn't really do anything because I'm the weakest. So that's nice for me. Lcfyx takes the Richland. He will have to go for coal later on, so this will help. St. Pete's is now finished, so he won't have immediate happy face trouble. And he does use the cultural heritage, so he does get the 4 culture and 1 science from it. Upgrade some military, and is now the strongest even. And Saru is actually second weakest, so maybe he won't see it. And goes for a revolution to theocracy. That's also interesting because he did have 8 science and 4 production, so I suppose he will build a knight to get out of corruption. Does he build more? No. Of course he couldn't build more. But it's interesting because he could have gotten at least an upgrade in, and develop this normally, and then he has 2 civil actions left, but there's probably not much to do. Like, he could take cartography and develop it, but he has a lot of knowledge about this deck. So that means it's kind of likely that there are no colonies here, because he had the science, so he could have done this if he, and there wasn't much else to do. So but chooses to go for the revolution, keeps a lot of science around. It's also nice, of course. It's still an interesting turn. And now he's at 11th strength, so we have to start preparing. I'm the weakest and still don't really want to see the vast, I think. So I also have 2 unhappy workers, so that's also way too risky. And as I said, the swordsman actually dropped exactly to this point, so that was kind of fortunate. And worked out nice. And so I get to do the turn I was hoping for, take the swordsman for 2, develop the bread and circuses and build one. And then I can build a swordsman, and that brings me to 8. And I could also upgrade ones, so why not? Of course, no H2 draws, but I think I will have to do some upgrades at some point. And maybe I will have a Conmon and be able to do it slowly, but even so, just better to have an extra strength already, I think. It will have to happen at some point. Then the mine upgrade, monarchy, and going for it. So that was exactly 8 science, so now he's really low on science, but he gets the cultural heritage for 2, and also the alchemy. And takes the strength with Saladin, actually copies the medieval. So now he's the strongest, and he's really low on science now with his monarchy, but at least between Saladin, monarchy, code of laws, he got a nice government going. But the science is a bit awkward. He can go cultural heritage, alchemy, maybe one upgrade, then maybe develop the masonry still, get the second upgrade and finish the Great Wall more efficiently, so that's quite a bit of value, but it will still keep him low on science for a while, of course. And then Lcfyx takes Republic for 3, and that's a very early government. Has the warfare, so very nice. Now he has a lot of civil actions. So he missed out on iron upgrades basically, but having this early republic after getting some science going is super nice, of course, for him. He now has 7 civil actions. Actually, Wanderlust has 6 because he took the strength from Saladin, but usually also 7. Open borders between Saru and Wanderlust. Switches to the phalanx, which makes him the strongest, and then goes for 2 iron upgrades, takes the cannons. He is producing 5 culture with having Zitska, of course, and the theocracy. Still haven't seen it yet this game, so that makes it very easy for someone who isn't used to stopping the video on time. Then I will upgrade the 3rd mine, take the statue, and build 1 stage. So it was maybe couldn't have gotten out of corruption too easily otherwise, although I probably will do another upgrade here, or even 2, I don't know. Just the 1. But the statue is nice. I do stay with this food here. I don't know about rats, so that's a bit awkward not having my pop out. On the other hand, I also don't know about rebellion, and if I pop, I'm vulnerable to that. And at least I know about pestilence, which would be another reason to pop. So it's kind of 50-50 between rats and rebellion, and probably the rebellion would hurt more anyway. And if I can finish the statue before popping, then I save a bit of food anyway, so that's also good. And statue, I'm ready for H2 government. There actually is a common here, but everybody else already has a government. So monarchy, republic, theocracy. So this will probably fall down to me, and then the statue will immediately start producing culture as well. So that's pretty nice. It will help a bit with my population later on. And these were H1 cards anyway, so pretty efficient turn. Don't have a cavalryman, which may be gone, but probably not. So actually forget about cavalryman. This is a very nice draw. So just have to get a cannon now, but Saru already has a copy, so I'm in the best position to get the next one. Then Wanderlust finishes the wall, takes scientific method. So yeah, and he used the cultural heritage to go up to 4 science. Now has 6 after the turn. Yeah, so a little bit awkward getting the alchemy last turn. Getting the method now, but probably better if you can go for the scientific method, because alchemy into H2 is pretty weak anyway. Didn't really check if he could have done something better, but he was so low on science that yeah, he kind of wanted to have some science going, but now he gets a better option basically. And then Lcfyx gets the wave. He again took the strength with Saladin, by the way, so he either knows or really suspects strength events in this deck. And yeah, 3 of them were seeded by Saru, only 1 by Wanderlust himself. So he saw the strength push by Saru and expects a lot of strength events, I suppose. But so far it's been working out that nobody much has seeded because people are kind of jumping over each other, I guess. Lcfyx builds drama and took some H1 yellows because yeah, not much else available, I guess. He gets the cavalryman, so that's nice. Got him for 1 civil action. He could have I probably considered the journalism, but he has no population for it, so that's because there is Shakespeare in the game if you want to go crazy. There's a Newton here, but yeah, he doesn't have the population for it. He can use these reserves to get 1 pop, but it's really is also already a little bit behind strength against some others, so better to be careful at this point, I suppose. And he already has dramas, so. But yeah, he's waiting for calls or breedings, I suppose. There's Rebellion now, so it's a good thing I didn't pop. And Saru is the only one hit, and actually hit hard, because that's half of his civil actions gone. He can take and develop refinement, get out of corruption at least. But yeah, losing 2 civil actions definitely hurt him. And for me, the common is here, so that's kind of an obvious one. I will finish the statue and then go for common. That's not the most efficient order to do it. And okay, I'll go for this upgrade anyway. Doesn't matter then. Okay. And yeah, I get the first copy of selective breeding. There is the ocean liner here. I don't think I could take it right. I had 5 actions, so yeah, and it costs 5, so I had to finish this, so I couldn't take ocean liner. But that's fine. I'm happy enough getting the breeding for 2, getting this conmon. So I'm actually looking okay here. I really need a cannon, of course, and I need some time to get my food set up, but I already have 3 populations, so I got the statue, I got those yellow tokens, and then used 3 of my 5 food that I had lying around, and next turn I can get another population, so if the cannon is available, I can build 1 already, then 1 another time. And yeah, I got the last upgrade to Swordsman going with the free MA. Yeah, this draw was just really lucky. But I still need a cannon, of course. But once I get the cannon, I think it's looking really nice. Just need some time to set up this breeding and the cannon, then everything's kinda rolling. With some strength events. Wanderlust takes Newton and then takes the ocean liner. I think I was kind of happy to see this because Lcfyx with all the civil actions, having 1 less wonder, getting it for another action less because it would move there. So it would be super efficient for Lcfyx, I think. For Wanderlust it's a bit less efficient because it costs 2 more civil actions and it delays him from going for the Newton plus scientific method. So looking at his turn before, I was like, I think he's probably going for Newton method and then waiting for the breeding perhaps, but Saru would take the breeding away probably. So then he has to wait for a third breeding, which is awkward. And yeah, Oceanliner is of course great to have. So it's understandable, and he also sees that Lcfyx gets pretty cheap if he doesn't take it, of course. So yeah, I wasn't sure which he was gonna do, but I was of course happy because Oceanliner goes to the player. It's a bit less efficient for, but of course very understandable that he wants to do it as well, because still pretty early in H2, and yeah, Oceanliner just very powerful if you can have it for a long time. So yeah, but I was happy it didn't go to Lcfyx at least. He will then take the breeding and go for it. So makes sense. And takes the breakthrough for 2 and a rich land. So lots of yellows in hand now. Yeah, he's ready to go for the call when they're arriving. And we'll have the breedings up soon as well. So not looking bad. Saru seeds and the raiders come out, which should be an Lcfyx. And then gets the third mine going and reveals the Napoleonic army, which works with Chitska. Takes Bach and architecture. So yeah, going up a bit further in strength now. I'm a little bit short of defending currently, so have to be a bit careful, and I guess I'm really hoping for a cannon now. Takes the Bach in hand. Doesn't have anything yet, but the 2 operas are still in the deck. It's interesting that he takes him though. But there are also maybe not the most options. He only has 4 civil actions and gets a leader now for 1 civil action. Even though that leader kind of forces him to take an opera at whatever the cost is at that point, of course. But yeah, couldn't really take anything else. He maybe could have considered the Republic, but then it's awkward because losing a happy face, he can't really afford that right now. So. I see the international negotiations. Yeah, and Good Harvest is revealed. So I wasn't the weakest, so I thought it was possible to see it, and I want to start putting in strength events. Because I think, yeah, with this defensive army, it's still a while until they're coming. If we look at this, there are still some H1 events first, and I was hoping the cannons have to come out again before them. Of course, there is a risk that both cannons would be taken away also, but yeah, I was willing to take that risk, and also yeah, I kind of want to defend here, and I'll just show my turn first. I will go for the breeding upgrades, and I'll take, or at least 1 upgrade for now, and I'll take and elect Napoleon, and yeah, there's the second upgrade. So I could of course have taken the risk of an aggression. Saru might not aggress because yeah, there's a decent chance I have defense card. I might still actually withdraw one. But on the other hand, it will also leave me weakest for an entire turn cycle. And yeah, we've seen Wanderlust take this strength consistently. Maybe he was also just thinking there were more strength events. Yeah, we've seen Raiders come out. I think that's the only strength event. So yeah, being the weakest looked a bit scary. I have discarded Reign of Terror earlier, but there might still be uncertain borders, border conflict actually looking kind of awkward here, although bread and suck's not too expensive, but okay. But there was another reason I took this Napoleon besides being a bit more defensive. And it's the leaders in this game. So there are Cook and Catherine, which I could have, of course, taken for cheaper here, but yeah, Cook is not doing anything. I don't think there were any colonies, so it's not relevant for anybody at this point. Catherine could have been fine, but yeah, I don't really need another MA. Okay, Napoleon gives one as well, of course, but I mean, uh, for Napoleon, it's more the idea of the strength as well in the combination. But yeah, Catherine didn't look so interesting. And then there's Shakespeare and Robespierre. Of course, Robespierre is irrelevant here. And then there's Shakespeare. But the other player that needs a leader is Lcfyx. And yeah, Catherine will be gone. And he also doesn't really have a use for any of those leaders. Both of the journalisms are now gone. So he can't easily go for Shakespeare. So I thought, yeah, it's nice for me to have Napoleon. I will feel a bit safer, especially because Saru, his strength will increase further once he actually builds cannons. So I just thought I will take the Napoleon, be safe from an aggression now, plus block Lcfyx from useful leader, plus have the better leader for myself, even if it's a bit more expensive here. So yeah, those were reasons that I chose Napoleon. And then knowing that I have Napoleon and that I hopefully will be able to go for two defensive armies, I thought it was okay to start seeding a strength event. And so I see the international negotiations. And I think most of the dangerous events were also about the weakest players, so it would be nice to reveal one. Because yeah, I thought there might be like an uncertain borders in there. So that was also a reason I kind of wanted to seed, because this is a chance to push it out while it's not on me. Lcfyx might get stronger and then Saru might push, so I kind of wanted to avoid it. It was a good harvest, so that wasn't really ideal, especially because I went for the breedings this turn. But yeah. And there is actually border conflict, as maybe not the most painful one, but still good to have it avoided. Wanderlust will now go for Newton plus scientific methods. Takes a strategy for 3 and builds a stage. One other thing I was eyeing on my turn was this railroad, but it was on this spot, and I couldn't really get a nice turn with taking it. And also I'm not, yeah, I wanted to go for the breeding, so I didn't really have the rocks this turn, and I thought it would be a bit slow. But I kind of still wanted it, and I was hoping maybe it still comes around, because these cards are not takeable. But Lcfyx will go for the railroad. And then he starts building a bit of strength. The cavalryman doesn't want to be the weakest either. And builds one stage. The call is now on the road. Kind of late, but next turn he can go for it. And with the railroad he will have a lot of rock production afterwards. Lcfyx wins the historic. And then Saru gets finally a 5th civil action and gets the opera for 1 actually, so that's really nice for him. Destroys a farm, goes for cannon, up to 25 strength now. So looking a bit scary. So yeah, he destroyed the farm. He was at 4 food actually, and in this area. So yeah, it's kind of understandable that -1 might be in a sense better than 0. And he probably had some trouble to get out of corruption as well this turn. Or maybe not with the justice system, I don't know. But still, destroying something still fairly early on, is still remarkable, of course. There's only one copy of Breeding left, so he kind of has to wait for it, and yeah, decided to just start pushing strength now. He has a culture lead, of course, with Ziska, and has Bach and Opera in hand, so he will be able to continue on the culture front, and is now starting to push strength as well, so this is an interesting combination. And of course, I'm really hoping for a cannon now, because this is really the time where I would like to start building a defensive army. One cannon would give me 3, 2, and 4, so 22. So then I will be absolutely safe, but without a cannon I might not be safe. And also I've drawn the international trade agreement, which I will offer now to Wanderlust. Also there is no cannon. But first, yeah, I thought maybe it makes the least difference for Wanderlust. He has the ocean liner, is already at +1, so I don't think the food will help him too much. For Lcfyx might be a bit more useful, for Saru as well. So I thought it could do the least harm here, and I will get the extra rock production. And then I'm taking navigation for 3 actually. I was not the weakest, so I could have seeded, but yeah, getting the international trade agreement going was just important. So yeah, there was no cannon available, and that made my turn pretty awkward, I think. So I go for this expensive navigation. I don't know about any colonies in the deck, so I don't know if it's gonna be useful in that area. I also built a second bread and circuses. That's not too bad because the age will flip pretty soon. But of course I'm not taking some of these cards, for example, but instead doing some pretty random things. I used the revolutionary D actually instead of taking urban growth, because I don't know if I will get another urban building soon. It's also a little awkward that I couldn't use the architecture before going bread and circuses, but I think, yeah, I couldn't really, there were some reasons I couldn't really get it clean like that. But what I get like this is I now have, thanks to the pact actually, 10 resources next turn. So if the cannon is there, that's good. And I go up 2 strength from the navigation, 1 from the brand circus, puts me at 16. And 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I need 1 H2, 1 H1, and 3 random cards. And yeah, I think the fact that I have an H1 card should be clear enough. I've been holding a bunch of them for a long time, so Saru won't doubt that, I think. And I've had quite a few draws. I will have 3 more after this, so I may even have an H2 defense card. So I would be safe with 1 H2 card, and I think that's why I do this turn, to at least give the impression that I can defend. Also, I'm second strongest now, and one of those events was seeded by Saru. There's still uncertain borders. I think there's still foray maybe. So yeah, still chances for strength events, and I prefer being ready for them. Yeah, that's I think it. And if there is a colony at some point, it might be useful too. But yeah, still a somewhat awkward turn. But one final important thing about this turn was I'm not doing much about the card row. I'm just taking this navigation, and I thought about turns taking some Peractive Patriotism, whatever. But then, yeah, the chance of cannon coming out becomes bigger, and then maybe Wanderlust takes a cannon, maybe then the chance is bigger of the other cannon, and then I really need a cannon at this point, so I hope not to see. There are still 2 cannons in 11 cards, so I only reveal 2 cards, hoping that no cannon is revealed now. I actually draw the classic army, so that's another option, but there's no cannon here yet. And there is a strength event, but it's Crusades, so not that big of a deal perhaps. The masonry finally gets developed actually, but still scored 1 extra action from the ocean liner and will get an extra rock here and an extra rock there, so should still provide some value. Also got to develop it without an action, of course. And Wanderlust takes the rifleman for 3. But yeah, had to spend his rocks on the boat, so doesn't really get stronger yet. Lcfyx takes a cannon for 3, so now I'm hoping the other cannon will come out, of course, but Lcfyx has a lot of actions, so takes some more cards. Builds a cannon, but yeah, the strength push is blocking him from going forward for coal or even for the railroad. So that's awkward because yeah, he has to take this expensive cannon. Gets another efficient upgrade, so once he goes for coal, but he doesn't even take this coal in hand, but there's a second copy, of course. But yeah, a bit unfortunate for him that the calls were pretty late, and then Saru makes this strength push to prevent him from even going for it. And that's, like without that, I think he could have had a very strong position very soon because he got the civil actions going early, and if he got the goal as well, he would have looked really well. But was a bit unfortunate about this late goal plus strength push. At least he can defend himself reasonably well. That is, assuming he has 1 H2 card. He probably didn't have the most throws, but yeah, still 1 H2 card is a reasonable thing to draw. So he's at 20 strength and needs 1. And Saru will actually use his strength now and goes for war over territory against Wanderlust. And let's see how he does this. He will need to build an extra cannon, of course, and he can probably use Bach to get 1 extra happy face. Like this, yeah. And that gives him 2 completely functional Napoleonic armies. And even gets some more stuff. Doesn't take the breeding. Yeah. Of course, the resources will be very useful as well. So just going for the more efficient way, I guess, short term. But of course, he won't get his food upgrade, and this -1 is still around. Next turn, he kind of has to upgrade another philosophy to opera. Never mind, he gets extra yellow tokens, so maybe not. Then it's my turn. Oh yeah, they had an open borders, but that's gone now. I see politics of strength, and reds are revealed. And yeah, I had a nice turn planned, and I was then thinking about whether I should seed. And yeah, I thought reds were the only reason not to seed, and there were also some nice events that I thought could be there. And yeah, it would be nice to see now. And I thought, like at first I was really scared of reds and I thought I won't see it. But then I kind of convinced myself that there were 2 events, one from Saru, one from Lcfyx, and I assumed one from Saru was Crusades. So this last one was seeded by Lcfyx in my assumption. And he had breeding, but only on farm. So maybe he was planning to breed to build another one or something at some point, and then he wouldn't want to seed reds. But maybe he didn't build a second one because he seeded reds. But there was another event, new deposits, that I didn't know about, and there weren't that many events left, I guess. And I thought there's also a really big chance that he seeded new deposits. I think I looked back to the point where he seeded it, and yeah, it looked like he was going for coal at that point and maybe finishing the railroad already or having a second coal. And when you are behind on the rock production and then switch to coal, new deposits is often just such a nice event that you want to see it, and sometimes you have to do it even when you're not 100% sure yet that you have the coal, when you don't have it going yet. But it's just really nice to have it. And I thought it would make a very big difference for him if I reveal it now, before he can go for the goal, or after. Because I think he has the rich land, the efficient upgrade. He could get a lot he could either go for a goal, or I take a goal and the railroad finish. And I think it would make a huge difference if that was revealed after his turn. And I thought Wanderlust will be weakest and probably won't see it. And so I kind of wanted to push that new deposits out, and so I talked myself into doing that. But yeah, as you saw, I tore the rats and I lost 7 foot, and that's a huge deal. My cannon is here actually for 2 civil actions even, so that part is nice. But now I was going to pop and build another cannon. And that makes a lot of difference because I seeded the politics of strength, I seeded the international negotiations in this deck actually. Doesn't show it, but one of those events is mine. So yeah, that was all kind of with the plan of getting stronger. By now I end up at 25 strength after revealing the tactic. With another cannon I would have 3 and 6, 34. And would have had a really nice strength position. But now I have to wait a turn, of course, for the population to come, which is especially unfortunate because of the international negotiations. Yeah, I take the Revolutionary D for 3. I will need some more signs at some point, I think, and I also take this efficient upgrade. Kind of don't really need anything else at this point. The frugality doesn't really do anything on the short term, so I preferred having the signs of the Revolutionary D. And also I'm thinking that it would be really nice to upgrade something, oil or computer, and yeah, this will help me get the signs for it, this will help me upgrade it, and so having one of those early on would be very nice. I draw Impact of Colonies, which is still 0 for everybody, I think. Freedom of movement is revealed. Wanderlust has to defend the war, of course, at this point. And does it like this, having 3 medieval armies. I think I just drew the classic, the turn before. So I already knew he couldn't have that. So I guess this is the best he can do. Going 3 medieval armies and bread and circuses. He used freedom to put warrior in bread and circuses for 0, and then just used the military action instead, I guess. And at least that means he will only lose 2 tokens, I think. Lcfyx offers me the promise of military protection, wants 4 extra strength. Yeah, he probably really needs this to defend, but I thought it was not especially in my interest that Saru gets off easy aggressions against him. So I was fine giving him 4 strength, and I will of course get culture while he will get less culture, so that was good as well. And then he finally gets to go for the goal and 2 upgrades and gets the engineering genius and frugality. Yeah, he also got the second breeding, I think, with the freedom of movement. Sorry. Yeah, move the swordsman to selective breeding. And let's see if Saru uses it. Can't see it yet. So to see that the temple is gone, I think the temple also became an opera. No, he moved the philosophy to opera and then upgrades the temple, yeah, sure. So he upgraded both buildings to an opera at the same turn and took 2 science from Lcfyx. And now he has 16 culture going, and also still has this strong position military. Not a whole lot of economy, still on 5 civil actions, no food production. But yeah, a combination of strength and a culture push can be powerful, and also we're in H3 already now, so we see that he has already a 35 culture lead before his turn. And yeah, it will increase very rapidly like this. As I said, not the best economy, but yeah, he has a strong military position. As for me, I think my position is nice. I have decent government, some yellows, some food production, rock production, science production, but nothing exceptional. And I'm really looking to have, yeah, like I said, either computers or oil upgrades, or maybe go for a multimedia or something to really push me up a bit more. And if you look at the leaders, there is Bill Gates, so early computers with Bill would be probably the dream. There's also Pierre de Coubertin, which is also very nice for me. There's Einstein with computers. So I'm hoping to set something up early in H3, basically to become stronger. And then Wanderlust has the ocean liner, has the Great Wall also for some potential, but is now suffering a bit because yeah, he will just lost 2 yellow tokens, which is always awkward with the ocean liner because you run out at some point. Yeah, and also doesn't have the best production, like 6 is fine, has Newton for some extra CA, so it's a okay position I think still, but yeah, getting hit by this war of course put him back a lot. And then Lcfyx also has a decent position still, not the most science especially, but yeah, has these techs going, so he can go for this tactic at least. We'll have a really big production soon, so that's yeah, once he finishes the railroad, maybe gets a 3rd upgrade still. But of course, saru is at this point putting pressure on all of us, both in terms of culture and strength. I see the Cold War, and yeah, I'm still hoping to get stronger at some point. I bid 9 for it, but saru takes it for 10 and yeah, has a lot of cards in hand. So my 9 bid was, yeah, because I have the navigation now, so I just 1 unit and the card here. And as I said, I was hoping for something like oil or computer, but there wasn't really much available. And in the end, I thought, yeah, I want to do, especially now that Saru's military pressure is for a moment a bit lower. I mean, he can rebuild soon, of course, but I'm at fine strength as well. I get a 2nd cannon now. I actually used the bread of circuses to cannon. This leaves me short 1 happy face, but as you see, I will go for a movie, and I will go for architecture first even. Otherwise I wouldn't have enough for the movie, but this will fix the happy face and give me 4 extra culture production. So yeah, thought this was the best I could do to improve my civilization. It's not an economic upgrade as I would have liked more perhaps, but it's still a way to improve myself. I get +4 culture production, and I'm really setting up now for additional leaders. Flaming and Chaplin also become nice for me, and next turn I will have an unhappy if I populate, so Mandela is also an option. So yeah, I think I'm setting up for all the leaders as much as I can, because Napoleon is not doing that much for me now. I think strength-wise I'm going to be fine for the next couple of turns at least, with the 2 armies now completed. So yeah, I went for the movie, as I said, not really my first choice in how to upgrade my civilization, but still a decent one, and one that opens additional possibilities. I draw Impact of Science, the War, and the Pact. National Pride, so Saru's lead increases. Free population, but has no food issue. Takes rocket and military buildup, that makes a lot of sense, and goes for selective breeding to fix the food. use the patriotism and get some upgrades in. But it's a little awkward because I know he doesn't have classical and I know maybe conquistadors, but I know. And he didn't take air forces, so leaves those two Lcfyx. Which I'm also happy about because I forgot to mention, Saru actually got a copy of Air Forces, had 12 science and 7 rocks, so he could actually add 1 Air Force. He did now go for the colony, which helps him a lot in fixing his population issue, so it's understandable. But maybe his threat next turn at least is diminished a little, but he has the population now to eventually get maybe 2 armies with air forces. And now Lcfyx will get the other copy of air forces and then finally get that railroad built. So he's now also fairly safe, still assuming that he has 1 defense card. Takes the satellites in hand as well. Saru takes the communism, Rev ID, develops air forces and builds 1. And switches to positional army. And he's again threatening now, but only has 1 card, and he actually lost the politics of strength after sending away for the colony. He was actually the weakest at the point, but of course he's only losing 1 row now because of the tactic switch and the build. And I actually won the politics of strength, which means I now have a handful of cards, so I think this is variety and harmony, if I'm not mistaken. Some aggressions, another defense card. No tactic, maybe it would have been nice to have something to work towards, but yeah. And try to see what I see it because I'm not sure. I think it was harmony. Yeah, I think I see it harmony and a lot of people getting some rocks. Yeah, because my harmony is pretty good now, I just have to build 1 more urban building to have 20, and I'm taking the pro sports here. And again, the card throw, I wasn't too happy about it. Of course, one thing about going for those movies, I left myself short of the size of now going for oil computers, but yeah, there's a computer for 3, but I can't really take that now. I think I have the Cold War in this deck somewhere, and I was really hoping to reveal it with this seed, but I didn't. And maybe if I reveal it, that I would have gone for a computer here. I'm not sure. Anyway, maybe I didn't think so hard about it because it didn't happen anyway. So I will need some more happy faces and strength. And at this point, I go for the pro sports, which costs me pretty much all of my science. I'm still hoping I can win the Cold War, but I know it's getting a bit unlikely because both Wanderlust and Lcfyx have clear ways to increase their strength. Like Wanderlust can just build 2 rockets, puts him at 38 because of the Great Wall, and sets him up to copy the Napoleonic afterwards. So he will probably just get stronger, and Lcfyx also has ways to get stronger. I can just build another army. So the window for the Cold War was closing, unfortunately, but yeah, I went for these pro sports plus internet. I was really hoping to get Pierre at this point. Wanderlust also has Bren circuses, but he's seated behind me. The others don't have them, but Saru might just sit on Bach for the entire game and take Pierre away from me, in front of me. So maybe not the greatest chances. And yeah, not having a clear way to upgrade my economy, I was going to take Wanderer now. And the question was internet or fast food. And as you see, I thought the internet had a bit more potential. I think it was like 13 at this point, and fast food is always going to be like 22, 23-ish. But I thought there was enough, like the efficient upgrade can get used, of course, to upgrade this now. And then I think I'm at 16 or so for internet. If I get Pierre, I'm at 20. So needs a bit more, but I thought it was doable to get enough out of this If I don't get Pierre, Chaplin, or Fleming will also help improve the internet. So I need like another building to make the internet better, but I thought it was doable to get that at least still in this game. And of course, internet is also 2 rocks cheaper, which is also relevant advantage. Yeah, I'll try to. So this is my hand now. I think I discard most of the wars, and yeah, the war and the aggressions. I didn't see myself going for anything soon because my military isn't gonna improve now very soon. And as I said, both of these will improve their strength, so I don't expect to do anything aggressive myself. And I will have to focus instead on being safe instead from saru, for example. I draw wonders and strengths, so yeah. And I was very happy now that Wanderlust actually seeds as the weakest. I thought it was kind of unlikely that he would seed because he's weakest, and then Lcfyx same, and then they will both be stronger than me. But he actually seeds, and the Cold War is revealed now, so I got lucky that it was in the first half at least, which means I get 6 signs, which I needed a lot. And as I said, Wanderlust can go for 2 rockets now and takes the tanks in hand, so is now very prepared for all kinds of tactics. And after those 2 rockets is at 38, and next turn can copy Napoleonic. Not too many draws though, so there's that. And then Lcfyx takes Einstein plus computers for 1 even, so that's nice. And as I said, he now has big rock production, so can easily go for the second army, upgrades the 3rd mine even. Doesn't have the time yet to go for Einstein plus computer, but he can do that next turn. And then he will have a really big economy, some ways to get extra culture. And yeah, he's not really behind or anything. The 3 of us are still quite close together. Wanderlust falling behind a little bit maybe, but Lcfyx and me still very close, and he now has his big production. So meanwhile, saru is already 50 ahead of me. And saru just goes for the revolution. So finally gets rid of the theocracy. That's -2 happy faces, so that's but yeah, he can do this, and at least he will now have a good government to work with as well, and of course still gets a big production going of culture. I think I see that variety now. Yeah, I was the weakest, but I think I just want to start seeding some of those cards because I have a few impacts that might be playable. Yeah, and variety was just a nice one in general, I think. Take research. Maybe I don't get stronger either. Resource, patriotism, urban growth, ref ID. I get a little bit stronger. Yeah. So not the most inspiring turn again, I fear. I get some yellows, that's fine. But yeah, I had 11 signs now, thanks to the Cold War. But at this point, I don't think I can go for oil anymore. I think I have to save the science now for modern infantry, air forces, military theory, but yeah, none of those were available yet, so I just took some yellows, greatest thing. So kinda status quo on this turn, but at least I have some cards. And I draw progress, which could be nice. And unfortunately Pierre comes out, so I was not happy about that. That was the leader I still wanted the most because he's great with the internet. And Wanderlust, by the way, has the fast food chains at this point. Can switch to this tactic again, doesn't get many draws though. but he is now the strongest. And yeah, Einstein plus computers, of course, yeah, 2 upgrades. And then he takes the space flight, yeah, which makes sense. But it means at least that he doesn't get the military theory, so he's not very threatening at this point in a military sense. But yeah, space flights, yeah, should be great for him at 13 production now. I think this also makes sense. And I think our pact is still kind of helping him because he would look a lot more vulnerable with 4 less strength. But yeah, it's also draining some culture, giving me some more, so I don't mind. And then the military theory in the reserves for Saru. Fourth, Opera actually, thanks to the communism, takes the fundamentalism even. And sorry, what was the last thing? Pleasure FID. Alright, so did he have production? No, so he can go for military theory next turn. Has 18 rocks, so he could do weird things. It will involve a lot of destruction because he still doesn't have population, of course, but we still have to be aware of that. I didn't quite catch that. I tried to look at it, but yeah, I see that an impact. I don't know, I'm not gonna guess, I don't know which one it is. And economic progress comes out. Sadly, it's pretty weak for me, although Saru and Wanderlust don't get that much more, but Lcfyx does get a lot of stuff with this. And the thing is blocked. Okay. Sorry about that. Where this? So I just load from this turn. That's not right. Sorry. That's also too far, but so this thing isn't actually telling me which turn I have to click. I thought it would say which turn I was, but that's just wrong. Okay. That's my previous turn, okay. It even had corruption. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's the turn where Wanderlust got Pierre. Sorry for the spoilers into next turn. And yeah, so we saw this as well. And then Sarah took the military theory in reserves. I guess this fundamentalism pick is just to make sure nobody else can use it for defense or whatever. So, which one is this? Progress, right. Yes, because I see this military theory appear on the horizon. And then I will build another movie actually, take military theory and develop it. And then use RevID. So building the second movie kind of looks greedy, but there was this military theory here. Saru took the first copy, and both Wanderlust and Lcfyx, the fundamentalism is also taken, the communism is gone, so they just don't have military actions. Wanderlust has this strategy, but then he can't really do much else, like he won't get air forces and strategy, so just can get another army maybe, but yeah, just think I did some calculations, and also I will, yeah, at first I thought I really had to take modern infantry, but I came to the conclusion that there wasn't really a risk of them being gone. And if there was, I'm also taking one card only, so an air force would work just as well for me. And Wanderlust is the only one who doesn't have it, so it's unlikely that he gets the air force now, and somehow both my modern infantries are taken away and all that stuff. Because I can copy to the positional army if I get that. So I came to the conclusion that I really only needed this military theory to be safe, which is very nice because I had impact of progress, so I could see that and immediately go for the military theory. And that let me build another movie. Draw happiness and agriculture. And yeah, the Olympics have been played, democracy, and he does go for that third army, which does put him at 60 strength, which is a little threatening. Yeah. Tourism between Lcfyx and Wanderlust makes a lot of sense. Lcfyx gets an extra turn out of it, but Wanderlust has one more wonder, so yeah. And 2 air forces, and he's also at 60 strength now. Takes the EG, which will be nice with the space flights and the pro sports. So we get to the penultimate turn now. Saru will take the UN, which isn't very strong for him, but it's the last wonder available. Takes reserves and builds another cannon, probably to be safe from aggression. So I see the impact of happiness now. Yeah, I have full happiness, but Saru has very little. Wanderlust has full happiness. Lcfyx might get it, but another drama or so, but yeah, just a nice, good impact. Iconoclasm comes out. As you see, there's one more card in the deck. So I was kind of happy to push this out at least. But yeah, losing the civil action was also a little bit annoying. And there are some things that I really need to do on this turn. I have to take these 3 cards. I need the modern infantry to be safe from war. Yeah, I need the multimedia and flaming to have good internet, basically. So then I have 3 action left. I will elect flaming, pop, and build another pro sports, actually. And I had to think a lot about this turn because at first all my turns were like play the modern infantry upgrade, play the patriotism, get another upgrade. But as you see, I only have 3 civil actions free after taking the 3 cards that I absolutely need. And it was difficult to get out of corruption, play this patriotism, get flaming elected because I also wanted that. And in the end, I came to the conclusion that I kind of didn't need to go for the modern infantry, and that I was fairly safe with a pro sport instead. With fairly safe being a relative term. I'm safe from war. Like I said, they don't have military actions. This strategy will be discarded. So they can't really go for a war and build something, and I can defend against the war if they can't build anything. So the war is not an issue. Then there's aggressions, and yeah, I was at 41 without this pro sport, and I go to 45, which is a safer position. I can discard 2 of these plus 3 other cards, and that's 15. But of course, there could be multiple aggressions. And yeah, it was interesting to think about whether I should take the risk for that or build more strength, but I came to the conclusion I just couldn't really build enough strength to get to a completely safe position, and that if I wasn't going to go for a completely safe position, then this actually made the most sense because it also gives me 4 culture for the internet. And in addition, I actually drew a lot of cards because I think I had the first H3 turn and I have the last H3 turn, so that's 3 more than the others. And yeah, the others often didn't draw cards. Saru had the other side of Politics of Strength. I had the +5 from Politics of Strength. So I actually saw a lot of the cards actually. I drew many impacts, but also yeah, these 3 defense cards, but also a lot of aggressions. And I know that there are only 2 raids and 3 armed interventions missing. So no plunders and no occupy. Uh, so I felt kind of safe, like if I have to eat an armed intervention, so be it, as long as I don't get raided, basically. That's the most important thing. But it was a bit of a risk at least. I do get 3 more draws, and the H3 deck is actually reshuffled, which I think doesn't happen often. I don't think that's usual, but I drew the +5, and I think we played an extra turn in H3 or something because Saru was on 5 actions, and did the revolution. I'm not sure, but I feel like we played like more turns in H3, so I actually got a lot of the cards. And there's a reshuffle now, and there's one of these in the discard pile. So I don't know how many cards are in total in the discard pile actually, um, but there is a chance that I draw one back. And one final thing was that yeah, since they are low on military actions, I thought maybe they didn't have the space to keep aggressions. It's usually not the first card you keep, so um, that's why I reasoned that they might not have aggressions. And I draw one of the 3 armed interventions, but that's a redraw, so maybe it could be drawn before or something. But there are still only two of these and 2 raids that I don't know about for sure now. And I immediately get aggressed. I could have let this through to be really safe because now I risk raid plus raid, and then I can't defend anymore because I did draw the 4th card. If I didn't, I wouldn't defend this. But I drew the 4th defense card and actually also Impact of Culture, which is better than those even. So that was also a nice draw. But I can defend 1 more aggression, and I'm just going to risk that they don't both raid me. Again, if I eat 1 armed intervention, so be it, but I don't want to get raided, at least not, especially not before my turn. And then yeah, Fort Bread and Circuses, and leaves himself with exactly the rocks for fast food chains. Don't think this is... The remaining turns are not the most interesting. I do get raided now, so I have to use my defense. And then I'm really hoping that Saru doesn't have the 2nd raid, because otherwise I'm really... because I also... The card I keep is Impact of Culture. But if I get raided, then that's not going to be great. So that's awkward. Also keeps himself exactly... And he's actually very nicely preparing for harmony and variety, which are some impacts that I have in there. And yeah, I'm really happy that Saru didn't use his politics action here. So no further aggression. So still 1 raid, 1 armed intervention missing. But it's not as bad if they happen after my turn at least. Yeah, and so the UN also didn't reveal anything, just scored 12 points with that. But he's still, of course, far ahead in culture. Now has chaplains, so that helps him for happiness as well. I see the impact of culture. This is dependent on not getting hit by raid, but yeah, I'm taking that risk. Um, and then competition is revealed, which is the worst for me. But yeah, I was actually gonna score 2 more for that after my turn, but yeah. And then I get multimedia. I destroy swordsman because yeah, I'm weakest anyway, and competition is out now, so it doesn't really matter. I would have actually destroyed an alchemy, I think, if no, never mind. So I was only going to score 1 more for competition, not 2 more. And I get 36 for internet, which is nice. And then I had 1 more decision to make actually, because I was flaming, of course, and I looked at Lcfyx's hand, and he has the last armed intervention and also impact of technology. And impact of technology is 20 for him, so he has 4 now. He will have a 5th one. And for me, it's 16. And if I develop this, it will be 20 as well. So yeah, of course, my normal turn now would be develop this, play patriotism upgrades. Yeah, even though competition is gone, I just don't have anything better to do. But I was thinking maybe I should not develop this. The thing is, Wanderlust and Saru each have 3 tags. Saru probably not relevant because he's probably too far ahead. But so Lcfyx would score +8 against them, and actually +11 if we count the seeding. So he could score +11 versus them and +0 or +4 depending on whether I develop this tech or not. Well, if he goes for armed intervention, yeah, it's guaranteed to hit, of course, so it's +14 against me and +7 against the others. So the question is, does he still like his chances against me, or does he think he needs a few extra points against Wanderlust? And I think I'm pretty far ahead of him, and I actually think 4 of these impacts are mine, and this one as well, I think, yeah. So I think it's pretty clear that I'm ahead of him, and I did calculate, and even with the armed intervention, I'm actually quite sure that I'm before him. So, of course, he doesn't know exactly which impacts I seeded, but even so, I don't think there's many bad ones for me either. So maybe he thinks he needs the points against Wanderlust more and seeds the impact, and maybe not developing this tech could help nudge him in that direction, so he scored at least 4 against me as well. But in the end, I thought I will probably win against both of them anyway. And of course, if I get raided by Wanderlust, that's the other unknown factor. That could change things, and that might be more risky. But I felt if I want any chance to catch up to Saru, and I didn't think it was completely impossible either, although my impacts are actually not that great against him. But maybe there's a chance, and then I will just have to hope that he does see the impact of technology, thinks he can beat Wanderlust, and so then I just can't give up on 4 potential points against Saru, and so I do develop the tech. And that's my last turn. And then Wanderlust will just build the fast food chains basically. And Lcfyx can develop satellites and build the space flight. And he does go for armed intervention, not for impact of tech. But Wanderlust didn't use politics, didn't have the raids, so that was good. And then we go to the final scorings. And Harmony is the first one that was seeded by me, like most of the impacts actually. And yeah, so I'm quite a bit ahead after this. I was 8 points ahead before final scoring, so I guess Lcfyx thought he still had a chance against me. But of course I know most of the impacts like Harmony being bad for him. Because like I said, he prepared for a few of them nicely in that last turn, but he destroyed his Harmony in exchange for it. So then Variety was next. This is also nice for me. And I am catching up a bit to Saru, but still 34 points. And yeah, still 16 ahead here. And this is 10 difference. And as happiness was also seeded by me. I think everybody except Saru scores maximum. Culture I also seeded. And yeah, this one is also just a reason I know I'm winning against Lcfyx. And then government is next. And Wanderlust actually scores some points against Lcfyx, and the gap is now just 1 point before the final impact. And I don't think these are settled other than this. Last one is progress, which was also mine. And Lcfyx only has 12, and Wanderlust has 14, which actually lets him overtake Lcfyx for third place. So yeah, what can I say? Aggressing me comes at a cost, because if he had seeded the impact, he would have scored 11 against Wanderlust instead of 7, and would have 4 more points. So yeah, this is the final lesson of this day, I suppose. Don't play aggressions against me because they cost you a place. But yeah, I don't think he can necessarily know this. And before final impacts, he was not too far behind. And for me, it also didn't end up mattering because I would have had 7 more without the armed intervention and 8 more against Saru if the impact of tech was in. But that still puts me 13 points behind him. So yeah, Saru wins the game. I'm in second place. Wanderlust is third, and Lcfyx is last place. And yeah, I think it was an interesting game. Especially Saru made a lot of interesting choices, I think. Had a kind of weird civilization going on, not much economy, stayed on a theocracy for a long time, never got food upgrades, only 3 mines, so never got much science going. Yeah, he had a bit at first with universities, but then eventually had to move the labs to operas. But instead he got a lot of culture, which is Bach, and a lot of military pressure going for those armies. And yeah, it was enough to stay in the lead and keep enough pressure on everybody. So nicely played. Alright, that was the first game of this group. I'm not gonna say much more. Oh yeah, the second game is just finished actually, so I will probably make another video tomorrow with the second video with the other 4-player game. See you then. Bye.